Trade rumors are continuing to escalate across the NHL after what many are calling a lackluster free agency from the Boston Bruins. They are getting more and more interested in many players in top trade reports across the NHL. We're going to be breaking down some of these, going over what splash the Bruins have to make with the remainder of the offseason, what moves are coming next for this team. Before we do jump into all the news that we have here today, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to hit the sub button if you haven't already. Even though the draft and free agency are over, we're not done yet. We know the Bruins are about to make a few more moves. Now, however many it is, I'm not sure, but we're going to be here covering it all for you guys as it happens. We're currently on the road to 8K. Your guys' support's been absolutely incredible as of late, and we appreciate all of your support. But let's get straight into our first topic here. And going over this, kind of going over the reports where we currently stand, there are a lot of people that are interested in a few names. Some are RFAs, some are currently going into their final year, some are offer sheets, and there are many opportunities for the Boston Bruins here. I want to jump into this first one right here. TSN's Darren Dreger reported Tuesday that the Sabres had a trade conversation with several teams, including the Calgary Flames, Vegas Golden Knights, Los Angeles Kings, and St. Louis Blues. And he also raised the possibility of an offer sheet. Now, this is all about Bowen Byram, and there are a few reports here where I've seen the Bruins are linked to a guy like Bowen Byram. This is one that is a bit interesting because we know the Bruins on defense are locked up pretty good, especially the left side. The right side is something that we can discuss here, and we're going to have someone in a minute jump into that. But when we do take a look at what reports are kind of saying, Drager's colleague Chris Johnson suggested the sweet spot could be around a compensation range tier of $7 million. If the deal comes under that, the compensation would be a first and a third round pick in 2026. He indicates that the danger for the Sabres in matching that offer sheet is that it would take Byram straight to UFA status while losing the ability to trade him. Now, this all comes out from Chris Johnson via the Hockey News, but Bowen Byram as a player is a very solid option. Now, he's bounced around a little bit in his career this far, going from Colorado Avalanche to the Buffalo Sabres in a deal which required Casey Middlestat, who is now with the Boston Bruins. But a guy like Bowen Byram currently with this team doesn't make a lot of sense. You see that around $7 million is the offer sheet there, or his projected value at $5 million, or a one-year deal of 5.1. This comes from AFP Analytics. Now, I don't think Bowen Byram is the smartest decision, because when we do take a look at the defense here, the left side is locked up pretty well. Elias Lindholm is an option that is has a lot of interest in for the Bruins side of things, where he's going to be very old when he expires, 35, in fact, and 5 years left on his deal, going into his fourth year now at 6.5. The injury history, it's a bit of a concern there, whether he will be able to handle this or not, but now that we got Jokiharju back, Zadorov in the Jokiharju line looks very, very good, and of course, Mason Lohrei and Andrew Peeke on that third line. Lohrei is a major upside for this Bruins team, so someone on the left side doesn't really make sense to me just yet. So when we're looking at the Boston Bruins compared to Bowen Byram and all these links that we're seeing, this is one I'm not too fond of. However, the next one that we're looking at in a guy like Rasmus Andersson is one that I definitely want to see work out here. And I want to jump in very quickly, of course, to a Bowen Byram stats. 38 points in 82 games for a 24-year-old who was 23 last season actually is not bad at all. And especially playing nearly 23 minutes time on ice, first-line minutes across last season. He's a guy who still has a lot of potential and a lot of room to get better and better. And would not surprise me if he will be one of the best defensemen in the league in a couple seasons. Now, does the Boston Bruins make sense for him right now? Not really. But a guy like Rasmus Andersson, as I mentioned, is someone that a lot of people should be very interested in. The Calgary Flames currently trying to trade him in the final year of his deal at $4.5 million. 29 years old, with an extension will come after that. This is one where the Bruins should certainly be looking at. Now, whether or not they go with an extension, and of course an extension may be part of what it would take to trade for him, and that's a lot of the idea behind the Flames trading for him. Rasmus Andersson at $4.5 million on a cap hit right now is something the Bruins could seriously work with, because when we do go back and take a look at the right-handed defenseman, we had Charlie McAvoy, Henry Jokiharju, who was just re-signed, of course, for 3 more years, Andrew Peeke, who's in the final year of his deal. There is a bit of uncertainty there, but we saw last year what he can do when punching above his weight class, going and playing on first and even second-line minutes going throughout last season with all the injuries we had. He was playing very, very good, and I think a third-line role for him with Mason Lohrei is one that will cause zero harm. But when you're looking at his contract of a $2.7 million deal and $3 million for Jokiharju, getting a guy like Rasmus Andersson to throw on that right side, maybe behind Charlie McAvoy, would make this defense a whole lot better. Now, it would crowd up the defense a bit, which would result in having to get rid of someone on that right side, likely would be Andrew Peeke. But coming into this, it could be a very big option for the Calgary Flames to be able to trade to the Boston Bruins, with the possibility of the Bruins getting a flip in this case. And, we're trying to get better. We know a big splash is going to be made, and I think the defense is not one where we're really looking at it, but it could be a serious option. Now, Rasmus Andersson coming at a 7 by 7.7 as the projected deal. One that is a bit expensive compared to some other right-hand defensemen. Once again, comparing that to what we've seen currently there, it's not out of the realm of possibility when you're looking at a Zadorov and Lindholm left side in 1 and 2. McAvoy and Rasmus Andersson, maybe for a year, maybe for longer, on this right side, and something that I think the Bruins should really consider. And even if it doesn't come down to him playing a whole lot in this season or going to play with the Bruins at all, it does have a great bit of value for the Boston Bruins, and especially Rasmus Andersson, who once again, playing 24 minutes time on ice, 31 points in 81 games, playing at a very, very solid pace on his career so far, and only going to be 29 years old next season. He's a guy that has a lot of serious potential once again, and is a bit more valuable to the Boston Bruins in this case. So let me know what you think about the defense here. I don't think that we're going to see a defensive splash just yet from the Boston Bruins, although maybe mid-season be something. But when we're looking on the offense, this is where things are really starting to heat up for the Bruins. We know that the offense did take a bit of a hit here in the offseason. Now, free agency was not what a lot of people expected. Many people expected the Boston Bruins to come out here, make one big signing, go ahead and get some of these younger players up. But Don Sweeney and the Boston Bruins took an entirely different route. They're trying to change the outlook of this team, thinking of teams that, coming in, thinking, hey, we're going to roll over the Bruins. They're not going to be a tough enough team. You get a guy like Tanner Jeannot, who the signing is growing on me. I got to say, your guys in the comments have really made the signing grow and, make a lot more sense to me when it kind of sitting down and taking a look at it. He's a guy that's going to be able to really change his offense, but not on the score sheet. He's a guy that's going to be turning around this offense. Now, adding to this offense is something that the Bruins are going to be doing. They have to. They have no second-line right winger, and this is where things come into play as we look towards the future of this team and what moves are going to be made. Going on to a very interesting perspective from the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're looking to trade Bryan Rust and Rickard Rakell, and they're going to be on the trade market here in this offseason, and this is what comes down to it from this article right here from Michael DeRosa of the Hockey News. With UFA forwards like Brock Besser and Nikolai Ehlers off the board, it would not be surprising in the slightest if teams looking for top 6 wingers contact the Penguins. With Bryan Rust and Rickard Rakell are viewed as among this year's top trade candidates, and interest in their services could skyrocket. Both players undoubtedly have higher trade values right now, as they each had career years in 24-25. Therefore, the Penguins would have potential to land a nice return for both players if they opted to move them. Now, where these guys are both listed as top trade candidates for the Pittsburgh Penguins and across the NHL this year, having the Bruins get in on this early would be something that you would be paying a bit more, but you would have less of a battle to go out and get these guys, and ultimately could result in a less trade value, even though they're currently at their highest when trying to have to outbid other teams. Now, when looking at these players, they're a bit on the older side. Some have had some experience. Of course, Bryan Rust having a career in Pittsburgh, Rickard Rakell having a bit more of an open kind of market in his career. Both players are very good options for the Bruins' current top 6, who hold some younger aspects. Of course, the younger players coming into this team are going to have to fight for a spot. Nothing's going to be given, and that goes for the players also recently signed. So, giving these two options as well here, whether it is a trade earlier on in this offseason, maybe towards the beginning of next season, whether it's mid-next season, next year, the Bruins are looking to make that splash, and those are two huge options right now for the Boston Bruins, especially with the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are going to be in a very interesting spot, going to look at sell and also options of buying here in the offseason. And as we do go take a look at this top 6 right now, there is one hole there. Victor Arvidsson, he can play on the second line. I'm not saying he will not, but for someone who we're trying to see all season get a bit better, this team trying to get a bit better, potentially still waiting for Gavin McKenna, a lot of uncertainty still is there, but a second-line winger is something that is needed. Casey Mittelstadt and Pavel Zacha, both currently centers listed here. They have Mittelstadt playing on the left side. I think that Zacha is another trade candidate for the Bruins side of things to be able to make a big splash, and that one would not surprise me with the additions that this team made to be not just younger, but also get better while still trying to improve overall. This is one that is very interesting as well. So I want to know what you guys think, of course. Nothing is imminent, but there are so many people coming out and saying, what's the next move for the Boston Bruins? Where are they going from here? And they need to make a big splash. Why not make it soon? We need to see this team ready for the offseason, ready for next season. And I think there's still a lot of moves that the Bruins are going to make internally as well. They still have to figure out what they're going to do with James Hagens. But the way this team is looking, it's looking very different. But it's going to be a very interesting next season where they try and get better, trying to get up into a playoff spot with the team they currently have. And they certainly have a new outlook. So I want to know what you guys think as well. There's a lot of prospects that could be on the move with the way this Bruins team is looking, and I'm very curious to see what you guys think. But that's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. And I want to know one thing in the comments before you click off this video. Who is the next move you want to see the Bruins make, whether that is shipping someone out or bringing someone in? Very curious. But that's all I got. Like I said, you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button. I'm signing out, though. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.